Call the roll.
Michelle Sarwaz. Charlie DeVoe.
Here.
George Koziel.
Here.
Bob Picaro.
Here.
John Miasso.
Here.
Julie Kapitakakis.
Here.
Amy McSwain.
Here.
Mike Weirden.
Here. You have before you the minutes from the July 3rd meeting. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bob, seconded by John. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Charlie DeVoe.
Abstain.
George Koziel.
Abstain.
Bob Picaro.
Yes.
John Miasso.
Yes.
Julie Kapitakakis.
Yes.
Amy McSwain.
Yes.
Mike Weirden.
Yes. Public forum. Does anyone in the audience have anything they'd like to bring before the board that is not on tonight's agenda? Okay. First item on the agenda is case number 2418, Kiddie Academy, 1380 West Army Trail Road. Are the petitioners present? Yes. Please step up to the microphone so that we can swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the evidence you're about to give is only the whole truth? Okay, please give your name and address for the record.
Adam Bell, 5 Oakland Hills Court, Hawthorne Woods, Illinois.
Okay, go ahead and present your case.
Yes, we're proposing to bring a freestanding Kiddie Academy building, which is a daycare use. It's a 10,500 square foot building catered to the youth. And this site, I believe we're seeking variations for both front and side yard setbacks, landscaping, perimeter variation, and then a special use on the building height. The reason for the variations and the special use is due to the larger front yard setbacks and side yard setbacks. We just need to make room for the prototype building. We have a large rear detention area to accommodate the stormwater detention. So in order to make the parking work for the user, we just need a couple extra feet in order for the parks to work. Additionally, on the perimeter landscaping on the western boundary line, we are proposing a plat of subdivision. That plat of subdivision would allow for a future potential building. And in order to do so, we're requesting no landscape buffer between those. They are going to be two lots that operate as one contiguous development operating under a declaration. We currently do not have a user for that parcel, but we continue to look for one. And then on the building height, I believe a majority of the building is right about at the standard building height. However, there is a enlarged parapet, which we are looking to seek that special use for.
Okay. Do we have the petition, the newspaper?
I have the green cards.
You have the green cards?
Yeah, they were all sent. I have them.
Those.
That was the part I was missing, but yes, we have the sign and the newspaper.
Sign the newspaper, and he's getting the green cards. Mark those exhibits A, B, and C. Okay.
I have some additional context
Okay.
of the site, if the commission would like to hear it. The property was annexed along with a larger section in 1973 and rezoned to B2 when the rest of the townhomes and all the single family around it was all granted the PD designation. So as long as those townhomes have been there, this property has been zoned commercial. There was, in 2002, a car wash and automotive service station that was granted a special use permit and a site plan approval that obviously was never built, but those permissions were granted. Like Adam said, the petitioner is requesting a subdivision to break the lot into thirds. The first lot being for the proposed daycare center, which is going for site plan approval. Lot 3 is for stormwater management, and then Lot 2, like was said, is for future development. Unlike other projects we've had, like at Devon and Prospect, there is no future use slated for this site. It keeps its commercial zoning, but no other proposals we've seen yet. Variations are being requested for the parking on the south side along Army Trail Road there to be put in the setback, and then on the west side of the property, of Lot 1, I should say, this is also in the setback of this new property line here. So for that. And then in addition, the landscape requirement variation that's being requested is to remove the requirement of this west property line because there is this access easement there. There is no special use permit required for daycare. Daycare is a permitted use in this district, but a special use is required for the building height. As we can see here, the building requirement, the height maximum is 25 feet. The average roof peak for this project is 31 feet 6 inches. Let's see. The daycare facility is proposed to have 30 employees. Our parking requirements are one parking space for every employee employed at a daycare. And so this proposal meets it and exceeds it, having 35 spaces. It's proposed that drop-off times are 7 a.m. to 8:30, pickup times 4 to 5:30. This will have 2 access points as required, one of which along Fairfax, and then the other onto Hanover Park's property. As a condition of approval, staff has mentioned that a easement is required to be granted by Hanover Park in order for that eastern access point to be granted, so vehicles can come off of Army Trail Road. In the packet is an approval letter from the Public Works Department of Hanover Park, but that easement will need to be recorded before building can occur. I believe that is it. We don't have, we got 2 phone calls, but none of them weighed in positive or negative on behalf of this case.
Will the Hanover Park side be like a major entrance or just
It's more supplemental.
supplemental? Okay. The other thing I noticed, the address 1380 West Army Trail Road, that's kind of with the Hanover Park grid instead of ours.
This was the address that was granted when.
It would be east according to our grid, but I guess everything along there, side of the street must go according to Hanover or Carroll Stream.
I believe it's Hanover, I believe it's West Army Trail up until, what is that street? Until Fair Oaks, and then it changes to east, at least that's
Okay.
what the county has.
So we would readdress it once the building is actually constructed.
Okay.
And it matches our address grid.
Okay, okay. Because,
Sometimes when things get recorded,
Yes.
they just guess the closest number. That's not an official address assigned by the village.
And oftentimes we designate that during the permitting process.
okay. Yeah, I could tell that was off for our grid, but okay.
And then if you have any questions as it relates to the operations of the daycare, I do have a representative from Kiddie Academy here as well, if you want to get into that as well.
Okay, board, do you have any questions?
I've got a couple, but I'll wait until after the public hearing.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, at this point, we'll open it up to the public. If you have something to say, please fill out one of those forms that are on the back table and turn it in to Julie. Do you have some forms already? Okay. This way, we don't have to swear you in. Do you have other locations too?
So I'm the developer, I'm not the daycare operator, so we're strictly the contract purchaser, and we'll be building the building and leasing it back to the Kiddie Academy group. That being said, we are under construction for a Kiddie Academy in Downers Grove right now. I believe this operator has 11 or 12 locations currently, with plans for another 2 or 3 in the near future. And if it makes any difference, I believe he's actually from Bartlett.
But other than the upcoming Downers Grove, were you involved in any of the other?
I was not involved in any of the other ones. The general contractor that we've selected for this recently constructed their location in Wheaton, Illinois. And they're also the same contractor we're using in Downers Grove.
Okay.
Denise LaRocco.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Denise LaRocco. My address is 1335 Antigua Trail in Carroll Stream. I'm a residential real estate broker for 39 years, and my house backs up to Army Trail, right exactly where the proposal is. The The biggest concern for me and my neighbors, as we've been talking, is the accidents by that light that is Army Trail, Fairfax, and Spring Valley. About 10 years ago, a big SUV plowed through my fence, shed the next neighbor's fence, and ended up on top of an electrical transformer. It was an elderly couple. They tried to get out. We got them to stay in. ComEd had to come, cut everything, get them out safely. If anybody had been there, it would have been a bad accident. My next door neighbors, the Altos, they've given me permission to tell about their situation in 2021. ALTO is their name. They live at 1343 Antigo. They are right on the corner of Spring Valley and Army Trail. They had a car that ran over the stoplight, and it ended up right through their house. The car was in their living room within 2 feet of where he was sitting. The house was deemed uninhabitable. And I think if you would check both Bartlett and Carroll Stream Police and Fire Department, how many accidents happen there, I just don't feel it's a safe place to have a lot more congestion. I don't have an issue with personally, I don't have an issue with the academy because that would be one time in, one time out. But when we're talking about the unknown of these other two areas that could be a restaurant, a quick service restaurant, which is online, don't want a Wendy's, ding, 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 constant traffic all the time, that's the big concern. There's enough traffic and enough accidents there. And if you check with the police and fire department, you'll find that to be true. It's not unusual. It's like bang, oh, another accident. And then my other question was, what about the parking lot lights? Where would they be? How would they, because, I mean, my backyard, I look at this piece of land. Would prefer not to have a stadium in my backyard. But that's a personal thing. The safety thing is the biggest thing, and I've personally seen it. So that's my thing. I would like to know about the lights.
Is that probably a 6-foot fence in your backyard along?
6 foot, yep. Yep. So it for sure would come through. The distance, if the lights are shining not down and maybe out a little bit, it would interfere with the residential on our side. But the safety is the biggest thing.
Christie can answer that.
So as far as the lighting, staff, the requirements are that it cannot exceed 1 foot candle at the property lines, which is pretty minimal. A foot candle is how far a candle emits light from a foot. So that's pretty dark, and we also require that the lights shine directly down. They can't be at an angle, because then it does cast the light differently.
That's exactly what I wanted to know. I think for the neighbors and myself, it's the unknown of what's going to happen. It's all about, they buy this big piece of property that you don't need all that land, but you have to do something with it, because I'm assuming the seller is not going to subdivide.
So for the other lot that's unknown, if someone were to come in with a drive-through, it would still have to meet our parking requirements, our setback requirements. It would go through this review process again. A drive-through is a special use permit that would require another public hearing.
I get that. My concern is if it's a drive-through, it's constant traffic in and out. And if we're having cars that are ending up in my next door neighbor's living room, it is a concern. It just is a concern. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You do have a unique situation there.
Donna Staton.
I'm Donna Stanton. I live at 335 Ashford Circle in Fairfax Commons, and I'm here on behalf of the Fairfax Commons Condominium Association as its president. You're probably going to get some redundant questions because we have some other folks who are here. But our concern, this community has been around about 33 years now, and for 33 years there's been nothing on that corner. We have a lot of original owners. We have a high number of senior citizens in our community. Right now, Fairfax is kind of a speedway, if you will, from Army Trail all the way up to Schick. There are no stop signs. There is nothing to slow anyone down. There are cars all the time. We are working very hard to monitor our residents, who comes to park in our parking lots. We've had to establish a towing service. There's a lot more traffic there. We are confident that this would be yet another way for traffic to be generated in our very quiet, very pleasant home community. So we have questions regarding trash. Where would the pickup be and when would the pickup be? When do deliveries come in? Is the staff going to be able to park in the 35 allotted spaces, or will they be coming on the streets near our homes? What are the daily hours? Because we all know mom sometimes is late. Sometimes mom doesn't get there till after 6 o'clock to get the children. When will people be coming in and out? What's the maximum occupancy of staff and children that will be there? What are the drop-off protocols specifically? The landscaping along the fence in Fairfax. Our community is beautiful. We spend the majority of our association monies keeping our community beautiful. We have over 300 fruit trees. We have an enormous amount of community pride. That's important to us. This visually is important. So right along that comes a big old tower that's going to go up higher than the allotted space. Do children at the Kiddie Academy take walks during the day? Do they walk through the community? Will they be walking on our streets? Will there be people with the opportunity to speed down the street and maybe hit a small child? Access and egress on Fairfax. We have 61 buildings that we're already worried about the egress, plus all the single-family homes around Penny Lane. How is that going to affect us? And just having the inbound on the Hanover Park side is good, but is it enough? Sightlines from the adjacent building. If you're one of the unlucky ones who are going to live in our building that's going to back right up to this development, all you're going to see is a 6-foot fence, a 4-foot fence, and you're going to hear kids playing out behind that building. Love kids, just don't love them at that level. We want to know the construction plan, the hours, the completion. How long is this supposed to take? Now, and here's the other thing that I think we are all concerned about. We have, within 5 miles of one of our addresses, there are 8 Kiddie Academy type establishments, not to mention all the mom and pop homeowners who are there. So, with that being said, why did Hawk Hollow Grammar School just get rid of the grammar part of the school and make it a middle school? It says to me that there is not a critical mass of small children in our area requiring another Kiddie Academy. So at the very least, I'd like to know what the security procedures will be. Is this something that people might think is easy to break into? Is there stuff there that maybe somebody thinks is going to be valuable? And in the dark of night with a very low light, they're up against my people's buildings, not comfortable with that. And it's at the very minimum, we need to talk about traffic abatement on Fairfax all the way up from Army Trail to Schick, whether it's speed bumps, stop signs, whatever. If we're going to have this kind of activity in our area, we want to feel safe and secure that what you just talked about is not going to happen. So that's the laundry list of everything, and I apologize, it was a long one, but we are concerned, top to bottom, what is happening with this.
Rita Passini.
Hi, good evening. I'm Rita Passini, and I live at 1717 Fairfax Circle East. And Donna did address everything I was concerned about, but the size of the academy was not addressed. How many children are we talking about? And that's a big concern because it concerns the traffic and the noise level, and that's really my only point other than what Donna had addressed. Thank you.
Thomas Ferris.
Good evening. My name is Tom Ferris. I live at 365 Ashford Circle in Fairfax Commons. My son also has a unit on Fairfax Circle West, 1710, unit number 4. I'm disputing the findings of fact for the site plans on page 4. It says, item number 3, the vehicular ingress and egress to and from the site and circulation within the site provides for safe, efficient, and convenient movement of traffic, not only within the site, but on adjacent roadways as well. I dispute that right now with my items. The entrance and exit to this property should be on Army Trail Road, not on a residential street in a residential area, due to many reasons, okay? And this gentleman here also said, and I think he asked somebody, one of the ladies asked a question about the entrance, about the one in Hanover Park. He even said that would be a supplemental entrance and exit. Supplemental, came right out of his mouth.
If I could interrupt you for 1 minute, Army Trail Road is a county highway. We have no jurisdiction over that, and I'm sure they would not allow an extra cutoff there.
You sure, have you asked?
Yes.
You have asked?
Yeah.
Okay,
DuPage County would not allow another access. They wouldn't even allow a right in, right out.
okay, thank you. Okay, number 1, it's a residential area, which I already mentioned. Number 2, there already have been several accidents at the intersection of Army Trail and Fairfax, like the one lady mentioned. Seems like every couple of months, there's an accident there, including about a month ago. And I remember the one that hit the house, took the fence down and damaged the house. Okay, here's one of my many concerns. Many vehicles speed on Fairfax, especially southbound on Fairfax, to make the green light before it turns red. It stays red for a long time. Some people, to avoid that intersection, going southbound, they actually make a right on Army Trail, go a couple hundred feet and make a U-turn on Army Trail. They don't want to wait for the light, plain and simple. Also, there is a children's park on Fairfax about slightly over a quarter mile north of the property, okay? It's a big concern of mine. The speed limit is 30 miles an hour on this street. Nobody goes 30. Even there's no park signs or anything to say park 20 miles an hour, nothing. Something really needs to be done, but that's another issue that we'll cross at a different time. Even though the drop-off and pickup times are 1.5 hours each, I feel the vast majority of vehicles will be in the area in a much shorter time frame. If you have 160 kids coming to school, that's not just 160 cars or 150 cars or 140 cars. It's 280 or 300 cars, because what goes in 5 minutes later has got to come out. So it's not 140 or 150 or 160. You got to double it. What goes in has got to come out. That's when I said the short time frame was about 300 vehicles arriving and departing, which I just said, at roughly the same time. I'm sure not too many are going to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning, not too many at 8:30. There's going to be a window, could be 20 minutes, could be half an hour. There's going to be a window where the majority of the cars and the traffic are going to be there in the morning and in the evening. I am convinced that there will be excessive congestion in the morning drop-off and the afternoon pickup. Vehicles will be parking on Fairfax, waiting in line. My mother lives in Schiller Park, and when the kids get out of school in the afternoon, they're lined up for 2 blocks on both sides of the street. You can't even get through. This access to the property will not work in my estimation. Vehicles will be lining up and waiting in line on Fairfax. I just think it's a bad move on Fairfax. And like this gentleman said, it's just the one on Hanover Park. I wish more cars would use that versus the Fairfax one, but he even said that's a supplemental one. The majority of the cars, who knows how many? I don't know, he doesn't know, none of us know, but it appears that the majority of them are going to use Fairfax. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and thank you very much.
Jim O'Hairn.
Okay, if you don't mind, I had one question I forgot to ask, just a quick.
Come to the microphone. Come to the microphone.
Okay. On the detention area, retention, detention, whatever, is that going to be a pond that's going to have water in all the time? Or is it going to be a grassy area that when there's a big rainfall, it floods, the water runs in there, and a day or two later, it's gone. I didn't see that anywhere in the thing that, I read on Bartlett, so. Does anybody know if that's going to be a pond with water in it, with mosquitoes and bugs and everything?
No.
Or is it going to have water in it for a couple of days and then go down?
Correct, yeah, the latter of what you said.
Later one, okay,
Not a
thank you
pond.
very much.
Good evening, my name's Jim O'Hearn, 350 Sparrow Lane in Bartlett. To address some of the questions or concerns that the parties here have related to the traffic. Now, we're assuming 150 cars approximately. And if they're going onto Fairfax, at that light, you can only fit 6 to 8 vehicles to be able to either turn east or west on there. So at any given time, if you've got 20, 30, 40 cars, as parents are picking up their kids going, there's just going to be log jams of cars going, and sort of sitting there. If they determine that they want to go the other direction and head towards Schick, if anyone's experienced the intersection of Schick and Fairfax, it's a blind corner. On the left-hand side, on the west-hand side, there's over a 6-foot fence. Cars actually have to pull up into the intersection to be able to see left or right. So we have an issue on the Schick and Fairfax intersection, which we would most likely be pushing a lot of this traffic to, or creating this sort of logjam of cars that are trying to get to the Army Trail Road. Yeah, the supplemental will be nice. People will probably find, that's going to be the easier way to go. But then if they're coming around and turning, west on Army Trail, again, it's going to perpetuate that same traffic jam because people trying to get into the subdivision, people trying to make those turns. The business looks great. It's just the execution of how vehicles are going to get in and out of this plot is the concern. It doesn't seem like it's going to work out mathematically with as much space there is at the intersection and the potential of how many cars are going to be at any given time. Thank you.
That's it? Does anyone else have anything else to say? I think a lot of these concerns, probably anything that comes before us is going to be controversial if you're here for a while. I mean, I can remember, I've been here long enough, I remember when Army Trail Road had no speed zone from Route 59 to Addison, and there was a 4-way stop at Gary Avenue at Cloverdale, and that was it. So, I mean, as development comes along, yes, you're going to have more traffic. I would suspect you're going to have a lot less traffic than you would have if the gas station had gone in, which was approved a long time ago, but never got built. The staff will be monitoring things along Fairfax for traffic congestion. At some point, they may have to widen the intersection there at Army Trail Road to accommodate more cars. At the stoplight, I don't know. But it's something that we're not turning a blind eye to everything. It's something that will be monitored along the way. If your property backs up to this has been a non-residential proposed area for decades. So certainly you wouldn't have expected residences behind you. We find that in a lot of developments. So you need to take that into consideration. I think this proposal would be a lot quieter and a lot less congestion, except 2 main times of the day, than other alternatives that could come in there that would be allowed under the zoning ordinance. It's something that we have to consider and monitor. Anyone else?
Yes. Could I get the amount of cars that were expected to be here on any given day? Again, please.
Is your microphone on?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a traffic study from Downers Grove. It's the same exact building, same exact kind of enrollment. And it's less than half of the 140 number that I don't know where that came from, but it's less than half of that. I think it was like 50 estimated cars coming in the morning and leaving in the morning, 50 in the afternoon, 50 in the evening, something like that.
So does that mean that there's an enrollment of 50 kids and 50 cars and that's it?
I'm Jenna Albers. I'm with Kiddie Academy Corporate. I don't know if you need me to swear in or anything before I...
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm the evidence you're about to give is only the full truth?
I do.
I'm sorry, your name and address once again?
Jenna Albers, Abington, Maryland.
Okay.
So at this location, we are planning to have 148 enrolled students at max. So that's only if we are fully enrolled with 22 staff members. Keep in mind that as corporate, we only allow our locations to be open Monday through Friday. We do not allow weekends. And the building is allowed to be open 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. A lot of our locations don't use that full-time span. And our peak hours for pickup are typically, or for drop-off, are 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. when parents are, trying to get into work. And it's usually a trip chaining situation where they drop their child off, they'll, pick up their Starbucks or something and then head into the office. And then our peak afternoon pickup time is 4 to 6. When we are budgeting timeframes, especially when we're looking at parking sizes that we need at each location, we typically budget about 10 minutes for a parent to park, escort their child in. We do not allow a drop-off lane. So a parent must escort their child into the building, check them in at the front desk as well as with the teacher. And then at the end of the day, when they're picking them up, they must do the same process. We typically budget about a third is what we see of enrollments at a given location are siblings. So not every single student is going to represent one car. It's going to be about a third of that is going to be parents with, an older sibling that also joins for the day. As far as security concerns, we do include alarms on our gates. Because of how we have security, we have cameras inside the building that parents are able to check in on their children through our Watch Me Grow program. And we have external cameras typically at the entrances as well as overlooking the playground area for safety concerns. But we do not let children just walk around. They don't take field trips out into the neighborhood. We keep things very confined onto the site. We have a 5-foot fence around the playground space, dividing the children's age groups for safety with a 4-foot fence, and then the 4-foot fence around the perimeter in case a child, decides to push through, the alarms go off, but they'll be caught by the fencing. So please don't worry about them, wandering through your community. What other questions did you have? So typically it depends on what our franchisees want to do. I'm not sure what Saj Rizvi is interested in doing at this location, but it would still fall within those parameters of during the week, no later than 6:30 p.m.
We need you to come up to the microphone to get caught on.
So you still cannot, you cannot exceed the maximum allowed for state licensing for children in the building. So at max capacity, they're still only allowed to have 148 children at this location.
And you said that is a state regulation.
Correct. So we build the building based on state regulations and fire safety regulations.
Okay, thank you. Come up to the microphone.
Yeah, my question is,
Name again, please.
I'm Tom Ferris, 362 Ashford Circle. You're going to have 30 or 35 parking spots, okay, and roughly 22 to 30 employees or whatever. Now, when these 100 and some cars come in to drop off the kids, they don't just open the door and the kid goes out and walks in. You got to walk the kids in, right? Where are these cars going to park? For that 2 or 3 minutes to walk the kids in, walk them out when it's time to go home? Yeah, please. Thank you.
So typically, yes, we have 22 staff, but since it is a 12-hour schedule, we do not have staff there for the full 12 hours. There is a shift change. So you're not going to have the full 22 vehicles for staff there at once. And typically, especially for the morning drop-off, we only really see about 18 cars there max at one time, between staff and parents dropping off, because you have kids that are out sick, you have parents that are running late, or ones that want to get there early. We really try to accommodate the community's needs and what, we try to make it easier on the moms and make it so that it's a rolling drop-off and not just a designated time for them, just to accommodate their schedules. Of course. Anything else? Come on.
Denise LaRocco, this gentleman said, are they going to retime the light if this happens? I guess my question, I lost a little when you did that here. That's okay. The safety issue obviously is my concern, and you indicated, well, maybe they're going to widen the road. If that would be the case, it should be on their side. They're the ones buying the property. It shouldn't be a big part of my backyard.
So that is completely, that's not under the purview of this commission. Anything with Army Trail Road is under the
Okay.
jurisdiction.
So how would that work?
That was just pure speculation. That's nothing that's being
Things
indicated.
will be
Yeah, he mentioned it,
monitored
so
or-
I thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't initiate the change because it's a county highway at the intersection. They would have to become aware of it, which means either you or the village would have to contact the county and say, there's a bigger problem going on, please conduct a study or whatever. It's not going to happen overnight, no, but if they start seeing a big problem, it's something that would have to be addressed.
And then my other question is, you indicated like every 2 months. I back up to Army Trail. It's way more than every 2 months that there's accidents. I wonder has anybody done a study of the Carroll Stream Fire and Police Department and Bartlett Fire and Police Department to just find out over a year how many accidents are there? That'd be a good question, I think. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Did you fill? You have to fill out a form if you're going to speak.
Just a follow-up, Donna Stanton, 335 Ashford. Just a follow-up on cars at Fairfax. Jim, you had mentioned that perhaps 3 or 4 cars could get to the left turn. So if at peak time, you've got 3 or 4 cars possible, there's a median between the 2 sides on Fairfax. So you're going to have cars coming out of that driveway onto Fairfax, trying to make a left onto Army Trail. If we can get 3 or 4 cars there, and we have residents who want to get out and get to work, at the same time we have patrons of the Kiddie Academy going at the same time, and they're blocking from the Kiddie Academy down the driveway, across the northbound lanes of Fairfax to the southbound lanes. Telling that's going to be a very, very bad situation in the mornings. So if you come out and take a look at that, count cars, you'll probably be surprised at how much traffic there is already there.
And you would have that problem no matter what goes in on that lot. It's not unique to the petitioner.
You would, but you might have it in a more diffuse manner at different times.
Rajan Jalawala.
My name is Rajan Jariwala. You are absolutely right.
Your address, please?
I'm sorry?
Your address, please?
1796 Penny Lane,
Okay.
Bartlett. So it's the corner of Army Trail.
Yeah, okay.
The reason I'm calling, because there is right now is the situation is getting, the traffic is getting so worse. I already complained a couple of times in Bartlett Police, and what I've been told, they said, this is not in our hand. This is a borderline. So is anything happen is Carroll Stream or Bartlett, so we can handle this. So this is going right now, because if you come and say, look at my house outside, people driving 70, 80 miles per hour, that's so fast. This is really getting worse. So the problem is It need to be solved before they make any decision.
Well, some of this is out of our jurisdiction. I mean, it's DuPage County that handles the traffic flow, and some things have to be addressed with them.
But
I mean, ever since the Schraders and the Rouses sold their farmland along there, there's been a problem because there's been more congestion.
But it's
I
not
liked it
taken.
better when it was all farmland too.
Already mentioned that the one car is all go inside the house. I see it's right in the traffic light in the corner. I see so many accidents right in front of my house. So this is very difficult to make. This is, somebody need to take action before they can do this. Okay, we'll do this first.
If there's a problem with people going 80 miles an hour through the intersections, maybe you need to approach the DuPage County Highway Department to install cameras at the intersection to catch some of this. I mean, there's nothing that we can do about that. We can't set up jurisdictional things on the county highway. We can monitor things if there are something going on Fairfax. We could easily, and you can approach the village board. When this goes to the village board, you can ask them to set up monitoring controls along Fairfax from time to time. But it sounds like you might have a problem whether this development goes through or not. This is not something that we are here to address tonight, because we have the findings of facts and studies that went along with this that are projecting things for us to decide on. We don't have control over some of the issues you have.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
My name's Bruce Niemer. I live at 376 Ashford Circle. Just a question. To me, it's sounding like it's a done deal already. Secondly, where you're saying they monitor the speed and everything on Fairfax.
No, I'm saying it could be monitored.
Yeah, we've brought this up numerous times about that's not a street, that's a highway, the way these people go from Army Trail down to Schick. And we've asked to have this monitored, and what do? They put out that speed thing, which I don't even know if it records the car's speed that's going down. It just shows it, but it doesn't do anything or doesn't record anything, evidently, to show that, yes, there's been 100 cars that have been gone 40 to 45, 50 miles an hour down this street. You want to put up a Kiddie Academy over there? I don't know. If the village isn't willing to do something about it, we've asked for speed bumps, we've asked for stop signs, and nothing's been done about it. And they only put that thing up for one day. And I don't know what it's monitoring. All it is if somebody's coming down and they're going 45 and they see that on there, all of a sudden they put on their brakes and they slow down. But is it recording anything for the village to know that, yes, 200 cars have gone down here in excess of the 30 miles an hour? I don't know. Is that something you can say? But the safety issue is there too, and they've brought it up numerous times, and even about that light at Army Trail in Fairfax, sometimes you're sitting there for a long time. And if you're going to have all these cars trying to get out and turn left, I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of blockage, people not being able to get anywhere.
What I would suggest, the village board meets on the first and third Tuesdays of the month. There's a town hall portion, and you need to come to the meeting and address the village board. The police department has representation here too, and I have seen the village trustees, or the village president, ask the police department if they could go ahead and conduct a study or put some equipment or something out there. That would be the thing to do.
So I've already contacted our traffic unit during this meeting so
Okay.
that we can see what information we already have collected.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's public record.
Okay.
So it's,
Yeah, no, I just wanna make
I don't have anything right now, but.
No, I'm saying when it comes, I just wanna
Yeah,
make
when
sure
it
we get
comes, yeah, anything like that would be considered a public record and subject to FOIA, so you could fill out a Freedom of Information Act request, even now, and say you want any traffic counts that have been conducted by the police department on Fairfax Lane.
I'm sorry, Kim, I didn't catch that he hadn't filled out a form. Anyone else?
I have a question, well, we'll finish that.
Go ahead.
I have a question for Christie. What determines when we would want to do a traffic study, a formal traffic study?
For like a specific roadway.
Well, like for this case.
For this case, because we've previously approved a more intensive use, this did not warrant doing a traffic study. If there was a drive-through, if there were multiple uses on a single lot, then that would warrant a traffic study, but just having a single user, such as a daycare, where they have a known enrollment numbers, that doesn't warrant having a traffic study completed.
Come up to the microphone, please.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but the traffic study, once the other parcels get sold off and there is a drive-through thing, or there's whatever, wouldn't that warrant a traffic study?
When Lot 2, if and when it develops, they would be required to turn in a traffic study, because then it's adding an additional user, and we have to look at how those two uses interact with the roadways.
I guess,
And there would be a hearing just like this, so you would get notification. It isn't something that would be passed through without your knowledge.
Due to the size of that lot, any drive-through requires stacking, it requires parking. There's a lot of requirements that would have to be met. There's no guarantee, I know that's been said by different people that there's a drive-through. There's no guarantee that that's even what's going to be proposed, or that the site could accommodate that use.
well, you're talking about 2.5 acres. How much land are we talking about? Half an acre. So you've got 2.25 acres. Okay, then how much would be available? I guess my question is. About a half an acre for. Right, right. Yeah, I guess with these meetings, my thought was always the good of the residents. And, the residents I think we're giving good concern to safety issues and traffic issues. You mentioned the timing of that light. Army Trail is as long as I'll get out. And if you're close, I'm on Spring Valley, you gun it to get on. So I'm just saying, it's just to me, it's a safety issue. So thank you.
Jim O'Hearn once again. In regards to the traffic study that was done, if it was done for a gas station, that's in and out over time. We're seeing in the business plan is that it's going to be concentrated for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. So a lot of the traffic's all at once. The traffic study isn't equal. You mentioned like another business could go in. If it was a gas station, we would see this sort of a flow of traffic, not a burst of traffic all at once. And I think the burst of traffic at these two kind of critical times changes what was probably studied and really what the impact is going to be if a different business was in there.
So the traffic studies look at peak hour, so it's actually so it's not looking at the overall traffic for the entire day. You look at the peak hours. So they actually have 2 hours of peak traffic. Gas stations only have 1, but the amount of cars in and out during a gas station during the peak hour is higher than what their peak hour traffic is.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ferris again, Ashford Circle. Just one question, one comment. When was the traffic study taken? 1974? 50 years ago?
It was the gas station traffic study was for 2002.
Because I read something about 1974.
That is when the property was annexed.
Okay.
And then when it was rezoned to commercial.
Okay, but traffic study is still 23 years old.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
A question for staff. Who owns Fairfax Road?
Fairfax is under the jurisdiction of the Village of Bartlett.
So from Army Trail to Schick, that's a Bartlett Road.
Correct.
Some of the discussions here tonight remind me of the concerns of people when U-46 wanted to expand the school on Schick. And the discussions were things like the traffic at Gerber and Schick is terrible. The traffic at Gerber and Army Trail is terrible. But those locations were not part of the study, the request by U-46. And it's somewhat like the problem I see here. That road from Schick to Army Trail is not part of this discussion. There's nothing that can be done with it. The only way to make a change is for the citizens to go to the board and voice their opinion there.
I'll tell you one thing, at 6:30 in the morning, I would much rather go up Gerber than Fairfax. It's a nightmare trying to turn left onto Schick Road with the traffic and with people coming over the bridge. You don't have a long enough sight line. It's much safer to take Gerber up to Schick and if you're wanting to go west. And you still have a lot of traffic because of the high school. But if people think they're taking a shortcut in peak hours going north on Fairfax, they need to have a brain exam. Anyone else? Any further discussion or motions?
Okay, I have a question. It's an operational issue, so either Adam or Jenna, could you put up the fence diagram? Okay, specifically, the 4-foot fence. Could you explain how that works if there are, I mean, it looks to me to be about the width of a door, maybe. Give me the parameters of that fencing and how you get in and out.
So for the building?
Well, we could start there.
So at the building, we have 2 points of egress through each classroom for fire marshal compliance. Any of the doors that go directly outside are alarmed so that if a kid pushes the bar, everybody knows and can, make sure that they come safely back into the building. There is a sidewalk between the building and the fencing so that the doors can open safely if there is an emergency, and they do need to evacuate through those classroom doors that lead directly out into that area. The kids can go safely along the sidewalk out to the point of refuge where they'll know where to go and wait if there's an emergency. So that would be the 4-foot fence. It goes, you can see the red line from where the entrance is around the building. That would be the parameters of that 4-foot fencing.
Where is the point of refuge?
Typically, is it inside? Yes. That's what I thought. So we only allow it to be 50 feet away from the building. I couldn't recall if it was a part of the playground or outside of that, but that's typically an area that's sectioned off so that the children are able to gather safely.
Okay. I mean, are those doors used for when they go out to the play area? Do they go out?
No. So when kids are going to the playground as part of their twice-a-day outdoor exploration time, they go through the hallway out into the play area. We don't allow them to go out through the side evacuation doors.
Okay, on the left-hand side, there's two little jogs.
The jogs are due to the placement of the HVAC system stuff, so we make sure that those are basically fenced off so that the kids can't access them, but they're still able to get around the building safely and out in case of an emergency.
Okay, so there's a door on the west side, rear of the building. It looks like to be an actual exit door where there's no fencing.
Corner.
So, can you bring up the floor plan again? Is that where the kitchen is? Each location is different. Yeah, that's the kitchen. So that's where they would be bringing in their kitchen supplies.
Okay. Lastly then, with this 4-foot fence all the way around the perimeter of the building, is there gates at any point around that to get in or out of that area? And
Yes.
is that controlled?
Every gate, every door is alarmed. Each alarm goes off at the place that is where the door is, as well as at the director's office and at the admin entrance in the foyer, so that people know that something's happening. Make sure that you address it.
Okay. I mean, how many gates are there on that fence? What I'm concerned about is in the event of an emergency, and police or fire and children need to get out, and they're using those emergency exits from each classroom. How do they go? I mean, that point of refuge is 50 feet away. It seems, I mean, it could be in the play area maybe, but I'm concerned that there's an easy way for the children to get away from the building and for fire and police, if need be, to get past that gate to the rear or sides of the building.
So we do monthly evacuation drills with the teachers and the kids so that they know if something happens, where to go to help alleviate some of that anxiety. But also we don't we don't work without the fire marshal's approval. So each of our locations, we make sure that they know what kind of gates we use, they know what kind of alarms we use, and they are fully aware of our evacuation plan. State licensing is aware of our evacuation plan, and they are comfortable with knowing, okay, we can get into the location as well as how to get around it. So they are fully aware of everything. We don't open without their okay.
Okay, so there's adequate gates, and I'm assuming then the police department would also know that information.
They would have access through your system. I don't know how you guys do your reviews, but we definitely always have a fire marshal review and approve our plans.
Yeah, I understand that. You know, it just appeared to me that this 4-foot fence encloses the building, and God forbid, an active shooter, and you need to get police quickly in, children fleeing. So you're saying that that fence will not hinder any of that?
The fence is not there to hinder exits at all. It's mainly to make sure that if there's a whoopsie escapee situation of a toddler or, you know, a pre-K student excited to push the handle, they know what to do and they're not going to get into, you know, the drive area.
Okay, and is this set up with this fence right around the perimeter of the building? Is that common at all of your facilities?
All 356 of our locations have that, to make sure that it's just a redundancy, to make sure that if something happens, you know, kids are not gonna be able to get into where vehicles are moving.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question for you also, please. You mentioned 356 locations. Do any of your locations stagger the times where the students can come in and out of the building? Where your parents have drop-offs, let's say at 8, 8:15, you know, just where you can monitor? Because it seems like a lot of the concern here is the traffic coming in and out. Also, the amount of parking spots you have is a concern to me too.
Okay.
With 140 students. So I'm wondering, have any of your other properties actually formed a schedule where cars had to come in at a certain time? Like you were only allowed to have 10 at a certain time or that?
Typically, no, we do try to keep it a rolling drop-off and pickup situation. That way, if a parent needs just a half day or something, we're able to accommodate those schedules of those parents. Each location is very different. I haven't heard of any that have done designated pickup drop-off times, just for that purpose, to make sure that we are as accommodating as possible.
Anyone else?
With the questions that were just brought up about fences, especially at the back of the building, what's the space between the physical back of the building? Because I see little tiny doors there. How much space is there between the building and that 4-foot fence?
It's 5 feet.
Yes.
Yeah, 5 feet.
You said 5 feet.
Five feet?
Yeah, that meets ADA.
Yeah, it's standard sidewalk width.
Any other questions? Further discussion or motions?
I'll make a motion on case 24-18, Kiddie Academy, 1380 West Army Trail Road, regarding preliminary and final plat of subdivision, site plan approval, variation to allow parking in the front and side yard, eliminate perimeter landscaping on the west side, and the special use permit for the building height. With regard to the findings of fact and the conditions presented, I make a motion that we pass on a positive recommendation to the village board.
We have a motion on the floor. At this point, I shall close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Bob, seconded by John. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Charlie DeVoe,
Yes.
George Koziel,
No.
Bob Picaro,
Yes.
John Miasso,
Yes.
Julie Kapokakis,
No.
Amy McSwain,
Yes.
Mike Weirden.
Yes. So what was the final?
Yes.
Must be 4-3.
It was 4-3? It, we need 5 to pass it, don't we? We're a 9-member board.
We had 5 votes.
We need 5 votes.
We have 5, don't we?
No, it's 4 positive.
4?
Do you want to break the votes up for each thing so that we have the ones that? Or we can leave it the 4-3. We can leave it 4-3. Okay. I wasn't taking notes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
No.
So it was 5-2, okay.
It's 5-2.
5-2.
5-2, yeah.
So it was 5-2, so the motion did pass.
Motion carries, so will it be on the next board
It'll
meeting?
be on the next committee of the whole meeting, which is August 19th.
Okay, the next committee of the whole is the 19th, and then it'll go to the village board for the meeting after that. So if you have other concerns or want the village board to take other action, you need to go to the meeting, to the town hall portion and speak about it. Okay, anything else in new business, old business?
We may have some cases next month, nothing's for sure yet.
I was asked a month or so ago, we did the rezoning on Devon, the Realtor office, and put that back to residential.
Yeah.
Now, I was asked tonight or today, somewhere along Devon, I think it's near the Kiddie, near the Friendship Corner, that there's stakes. Do you have an idea what's going on there?
Nothing's been submitted at this point. So the property, if it's the same site where it was cleared about 2 years ago, they put
Yes.
up a fence along the rear property line. Nothing has been formally submitted. There have been concept plans. That property is zoned I-1, which is industrial. So if they meet all of the requirements, it would come in for building permit. If they request any special uses or any variations, it would have to come before this board.
Previously, that was probably a freeze on the land for Elgin O'Hare right-of-way?
No, that's further, Elgin O'Hare right-of-way is further east.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Any motions to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Moved by John,
Second.
seconded by George. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?